India's Army Chief of Staff visited South Korea for expanding military cooperation between them for the first time in the history. The fact that he visited Korea for 3 days is a news that has not been reported in detail by the domestic media. However, India's major press media, including Financial Express and the Economic Times, reported these on a large scale, composited a special broadcasting between two countries, and covered every single move of President Naravane in detail. Why did India send their army chiefs to Korea for the first time in history? China and India have had several clashes near the border since June of last year. It is noteworthy that the conflict between two countries deepened as they engaged in gunfights and even casualties occurred. Furthermore, the Chinese government is increasingly pressuring India through the right to operate ports that it received in return for failing to repay loans from the Sri Lankan government. It seems like it is a matter of life and death for India to adopt defense weapons to strengthen its own national defense against China's pressure policy. India imported K9 self-propelled guns from South Korea before, and it was very effective in armed conflict with Pakistan. So they have had a strong satisfaction and confidence in performance of Korean weapons after they smashed Pakistan's 36 self-propelled gun down, imported from China with a brand new K9. This is why India sent their army chief directly to Korea instead of dubbed weapons from US or Western nations. China's major media, led by Sina.com, reported Indian army chief signed a multi-billion-dollar arms contract with Korea after a sudden visiting. They also said Hanwha Defense Corporation in South Korea had an ascendancy over Russia on India's self-propelled anti-aircraft missile system, so-called SPAD-GMS project worth $3 billion, and Hanwha was auctioned to be an operator of the contract after India's army chief visiting. The SPAD-GMS, which we are talking about, is the K-30 Biho anti-aircraft system in Korea. It supplies ballistic computation data to the digital fire control system to direct the aim of the electro-optical targeting system, which then aligns the 30mm guns with the target of the accurate fire. It specialized in shooting down low-altitude aircraft, helicopters, and drones. Meanwhile, China, like America, has been working hard on reconnaissance and interception by using drones. China is noted as one of the countries that capable of defying the future air battle dominated by American drones. There are about 20 kinds of drone weapons currently in China, so India tries to prepare for it with K-30 anti-aircraft system, which is already successfully tested in India. After the adoption, $3 billion worth of weapons will go to India, including 100 non-compliant vehicles, 97 ammunition carriers, 39 command vehicles, 4,928 missiles, 170,000 shells, etc. And Hanwha will also support technology transfer and local production in India. There are about 20 kinds of drone weapons currently in China, so India tries to prepare for it with K-30 anti-aircraft system, which is already successfully tested in India. Another thing the Chinese media is paying attention to is the $7 billion Indian submarine project Daewoo Shipbuilding and Marine Engineering took part in. A number of arms powers, including Russia, France, and Germany, are participating in the Indian submarine order. Daewoo Shipbuilding plans to focus on securing orders based on its past experience in subcontracting in Indonesia. China continues to express discomfort over the Indian army chiefs visiting Korea at this sensitive time for purchasing Korean-made weapons, which is undesirable attitude to create tension with neighboring countries. In particular, the Chinese media noted that the Indian mission visited the South Korea Combat Training Center in Gangwon and the Defense Development Promotion Committee in Daejeon to observe Korea's new weapon researching and testing. They regard this as a part of India's current military industry reform. As far as have a close military cooperation with South Korea, India could enhance their weapons production skills and developing their military industry to the next level. China's Sohu.com takes a step farther from here. They mention South Korea's missile defense system, which India wants to purchase. The core of South Korea's missile defense system is the AMSAM, so-called Cheongung-2, and the LSAM. Cheongung-2 is an upgraded model of Cheongung, which is able to intercept enemy's aircraft and ballistic missiles. It started mass production in 2018 with intermediate range, mid and high altitude surface-to-air interceptors developed with domestic technology and was deployed to military in November last year. It consists of a combat control station, a multifunction radar, and the launch pad guided missile. Radar can detect and track ballistic missiles through 360 degrees in all directions. The biggest advantage of this system is it is capable of maneuverability, rapid operation, vertical launch, simultaneous and continuous launch, and a mix of celestial launchers. In addition, Korea is developing a long-range surface-to-air guided missile, LSAM, called the Korean THAAD system so as to strengthen their multi-layered defenses. The LSAM is a weapon system for reinforcing long-range air defense and defense against ballistic and aircraft attacks. It will finish development and start mass production next year. Also, it will have a radar with a detection range of 310 kilometers, 100 simultaneous tracking. Moreover, LSAM will be equipped with long-range guided missiles with a range of more than 250 kilometers, including aircraft, missiles, and the cruise missiles. China's Dongfeng series of ballistic missiles is a very disturbing weapon for India. So, if India imports all of Korea's missile defense systems and build a defense network, it will get on Chinese nerves definitely. Also, Chinese media said India signed a deal to buy naval equipment such as Minesweeper of Korean along with the K-30. Well, I guess many of you have never heard of the word Minesweeper. In short, Minesweeper is a ship that removes mines in the sea, but there is a danger in removing these mines. This ship operates with unmanned gears, such as unmanned surface vehicles. Well, when we remind ship, we think a big boat made of steel and aluminum alloy, but Minesweeper is made of plastic, not steel. It's because of mine's character. The mine explodes in return for a microscopic magnetic field. Iron ships have a constant magnetic field, so there is a risk of mine explosion. Therefore, Minesweeper wraps the hull with reinforced plastic, and all internal equipment and facilities are made of non-magnetic materials to minimize explosion damage caused by mines. So, because of these features, all the cutting-edge technologies are gathered for it. This ship and unmanned submarines will carry out a combined operation, as well as fighter jets and unmanned drones are engaged in a combined operation in the air. It is true that China looked down on India's weapon old-fashioned. But now, Korean weapons are getting on their nerves because India has been acting out to buy high-tech arms from Korea, including the K9. Chinese media predicted that South Korea will be cautious of exporting weapons, despite of India's aggressive actions because of the friction with neighboring countries. But, on the contrary to those predictions, South Korea and India have agreed to resume their stealth defense exchanges and cooperation this year, with the army chief visiting Korea. How Chinese internet users react to this? Let's look into their comments. I think Korea makes some money if they export K-30. Isn't India way too self-centered? By the way, China is busy preventing the threats of the US, so there's no need to think of India without presence, right? I think the K-3 will be more appropriate when confronting North Korea troops. Why would India want to buy this weapon? Do not stop boycott Korea. I think India sneaked to Korea to prevent China from attacking drones like GJ-11. Well, I saw some comments yesterday, and they said that India only have medium-range ballistic missiles and is owned by China. In 2015, China and India had a mock Air Force battle. Well, I don't know if it's true, but I heard that China was devastated. Prime Minister Mori is bidden to buy Korean weapons these days. The AMSAM has a range of 40 kilometers, and its radar intercepts 6 targets within 100 kilometers. It's not a weapon to ignore. It's more complicated weapon if the Indian army uses it. India's allies are Russia, Japan, the US, Australia, and Israel, but according to this news, Is Korea included now? India can't even fill their own people's stomach, so would they think of invading others? China must do something to stop India from purchasing new weapons from Korea. That is the only way to lessen possibility of armed conflict. There was a rumor that Korea sent the Hyundai motor production line when they sold the K9 to Turkey. India would think several times, even if China gives self-propelled guns to them for free. National security cannot depend on other countries. After all, our defense is our defense. Thanks for watching. Have a happy day.